Attention, stations on the network. Our broadcast will begin in 2 minutes from my mark. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. That was your 2-minute time check, stations. Attention, stations on the network. Our broadcast will begin in 1 minute from my mark. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. That was your 1-minute time check, stations.
On the Hawkeyes Sports Network from Learfield, live from View Rooftop at the Hilton Garden Inn in downtown Iowa City. This is Hawk Talk, brought to you by Iowa Corn. You might think Iowa just grows corn, but the truth is corn grows Iowa. Brought to you by Iowa's corn farmers of the Iowa Corn Growers Association and the Iowa Corn Promotion Board. Mid-American Energy. Look up, look out for overhead power lines. Visit MidAmericanEnergy.com for electrical safety tips. By your local Ford dealers. Also brought to you by U.S. Cellular, the official wireless partner of the Iowa Hawkeyes. U.S. Cellular, built for us. And by University of Iowa Healthcare, changing medicine, changing lives. Here is your host, the voice of the Hawkeyes, Gary Dolphin.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome into View Rooftop in downtown Iowa City. Another Wednesday night, 90 minutes of Hawk Talk with Iowa football coach Kirk Ferentz, who will be along shortly. The Hawks come off a big win, wrapped up their non-conference schedule Saturday against Troy University over at Kinnick, and came away with a 38-21 victory. Big second half. The Hawkeye offense got it rolling after a kind of a sluggish first half, trailed 14-10 at the break. But you knew at some point the offense was going to get a stranglehold on this football game, and that they did. Of course, the pick six by Jamari Harris was huge, and Caleb Johnson was very Caleb Johnson-like once again, as he has been from the get-go. Caleb carried the ball 25 times for 178 yards, a net of 173. What's amazing about him is he's always going forward. Rarely does he lose yardage. That 6'2", 225-pound frame. He knows how to run north-south, and he was doing it again, saving the day for the Hawkeyes on Saturday. That and solid performance by the defense for the most part. Harris with the pick six put Iowa up 10 late in the game at the end of the third quarter, actually midway through that second half. And the Hawks would go on and score one more time and win it 38-21. We'll rehash that if you'd like. We'll look ahead to the Minnesota Golden Gophers. It is Big Ten football from here on out, and Saturday marks the 118th all-time matchup between the Hawks and the Gophers, and it's the 90th battle for Floyd of Rosedale. That's that beautiful 15.5-inch high Hog, 21-inch long bronze statue of Floyd. So much history behind that. First played for in 1935. And the all-time series record for Floyd of Rosedale could not be much closer. Iowa holds a slight lead at 44-43 and 2 ties. The Hawks had won 8 straight in this series until last year when, of course, the infamous Cooper DeJean invalid signal waving of arms was called and a touchdown called back, or the Hawks would have had their in all probability, would have had a 9th win in a row in the series. But the Gophers snuck out of town with Floyd. He's up there in the stadium on the campus at the University of Minnesota, just itching to come back to Iowa City. At least that would be my inclination. Minnesota, meanwhile, is looking to even that series and retain Floyd for back-to-back years. That hasn't happened in some time for the Gophers. It's always a challenging game, to say the least. It's been a bitter rivalry, a spirited rivalry down through the years. You've got P.J. Fleck in his 8th season as the head coach at Minnesota. P.J.'s done a tremendous job up there. He has won 52 and lost 35 as the head coach of the Gophers. 1-6 against the Hawkeyes. Kirk Ferentz, of course, in his 26th year of coaching Iowa football, won his 198th game last Saturday. That gets him to within 1 of Amos Alonzo Stagg, the University of Chicago, for second place all time in Big Ten conference play. Only Woody Hayes at Ohio State stands in front of those two guys. For the Hawkeyes, an oddity, but it is what it is. Iowa is opening up Big Ten play again on the road. The Hawkeyes have though the good news is the Hawks have won 3 of the last 4 games in Minneapolis. They've had a good string going. Actually 4 straight they've won in the Twin Cities. Iowa's won 6 of its last 7 home Big Ten home openers, and most of those have been on the road. In fact, Kirk Ferentz, in his 26 years at Iowa, his teams have started out playing on the road in the conference 18 times. So I don't know what they got against Kirk in terms of giving him a home game to start the Big Ten season. But as he likes to say, look, we got 7 home games. We've got 5 road games every year. So let's get it on, and we will on Saturday night in the Twin Cities as we head up to Huntington Bank Stadium. Huntington Bank Stadium capacity is a little over 50,000, and it will be packed. Now, the weather, if you're heading up to Minneapolis, you might want to bring your, as Ron Gonder used to say, might want to bring your galoshes, because they are predicting some showers or a good chance of some showers. Friday travel day is supposed to be really nice, but there could be some inclement weather in the Twin Cities on Saturday. But you know what? Wind, rain, sunshine, or inclement weather, we're going to play football Saturday night in Minneapolis. The Hawkeyes met the media yesterday, their weekly press conference over at the arena. Cade McNamara was front and center, and he was asked about his relationship with offensive coordinator Tim Lester. So they've had 3 games together. The marriage is just getting underway between Tim Lester and Cade McNamara. Now, he's had Cade for a lot of the spring, and, of course, Cade wasn't practicing in the spring because of that knee injury that he was recovering from. But this fall, he was with him for all 15 practices, declared 100% healthy to go. But practice is different than games, so they're still feeling each other out, learning each other's nuances. McNamara was asked about his relationship with Coach Lester.
I mean, I love playing for Coach Lester, and
Well, we'll come back to that cut with Cade McNamara. We lost Cade for a moment. Cade remembers last year's Minnesota game, though. And he'll tell us about that a little bit later on. Iowa, Minnesota. Now, that's a 6:30 start Saturday night, 4:30 for the pregame coverage here on the Hawkeye Radio Network. We'll join you right at 4:30. Pat Anger is, you don't think he's lathered up for Minnesota, do you? Guy that played in that series 4 straight years, the All-American linebacker we were talking earlier in the week, and he is jacked, to say the least, and that'll come across on the air, no doubt. Defensively, hurrahs everywhere, not just Jamari Harris, who returned his second interception of the season, 28 yards to the end zone that gave the Hawks a double-digit lead late in that third period in this rock fight with Troy last week. It was Harris' 7th career pick, and he says it has everything to do with the front four. They're getting great pressure on the quarterback, and proof's in the pudding. Cedar Rapids Xavier product Ethan Herkett had 2 sacks and 2 forced fumbles. Brian Allen cataloged 2.5 tackles for loss, and Iowa had 7 total tackles for loss, 4 sacks and 7 TFLs. So the defense, save for giving up the big plays to DeMonte Harris, and he is cat quick, just 165 pounds at 5'11". He's a crafty veteran. He put a nice double move on TJ for the 1 touchdown, and then TJ was supposed to have help over the top on the second scoring strike, but nobody home or nobody there to help him. So TJ Hall looks like he got burned twice. One was his doing. The other was the safety ran the wrong direction. So I'm sure they've got those mistakes covered in practice this week. We know how solid that secondary is with Quinn Schulte and Xavier Wampa. John Nestor got some time last week. Deshaun Lee will play more going forward. Cohen Antringer. It's a deep secondary. And now with the lights on and Big Ten football here, you know they're going to play improved football. The linebackers are as good as advertised with Jay Higgins and Nick Jackson. Sebastian Castro had another outstanding game against Troy. So things are crescendoing. They're blending nicely into the Big Ten opener Saturday night in the Twin Cities. And the Hawks are going to need to be at their level best on defense. Minnesota has some very familiar names back on the offensive side of the football. Let's start with Daniel Jackson. He is their top receiver. He's got 12 catches in the first 3 games with a per-catch average of 13 yards, and he's closing in on some records. He's already 10th in program history for career receiving yards. He's 22 receiving yards away from hitting 2,000 for his career. So Daniel Jackson, the 5th-year senior from Kansas City, we've watched him mature. He's been often injured, which has really limited what he can do. But he's healthy now. They've always got good backs at Minnesota. A couple of them were nicked up earlier in the season. Darius Taylor, most notably. He's run for 190 yards, a 7.5-yard average. And they've also turned to Marcus Major, who is a transfer from Oklahoma, who came in this year. He's a grad transfer. He's got a 4-yard average. They have a brand-new quarterback in Max Brosmer. And Max is playing very well. He's gotten off to a terrific start. He transferred in the offseason from New Hampshire, and he was an FCS quarterback All-American last year. He's thrown for 3,800 yards career-wise, 25 to 30 touchdowns, very few interceptions. On the season, he's completing 70% of his passes. He's 53 of 77, so the Gophers are throwing the ball more. And Brosmer is the trigger man, and he's really been off to a good start. 3 touchdowns, just 1 interception. But when you're completing 69% of your passes, you've got it going. You're spot on with the Gopher offense. The last time in Minneapolis 2 years ago, Drew Stevens kicked a field goal to win the game. Drew Stevens lifted the Hawks, 28 seconds to go, and he punched it through, and Iowa escaped Minneapolis with a 13-10 victory. That's when they last met in the Twin Cities in 2022. Jack Campbell, I remember about that game. Jack Campbell caused a fumble and came up with an interception of a tip pass that was tipped by Riley Moss to thwart a couple Minnesota drives late in that game, and the Hawkeyes escaped with a 13-10 victory. So those are some of the historical moments about Iowa, Minnesota, and through, 100+ years of football between the two border rivals, there's been enough memories to fill several history books. We won't touch on them all, but we'll touch on the more recent ones tonight, especially when Coach Ferentz gets here. But thanks for joining us on the Hawkeye Radio Network. We're at View Rooftop, and we are every Wednesday night for Hawk Talk, You can stop by on football Saturdays, too, to view Rooftop for a new experience unique to Iowa City. Immerse yourself in an invigorating environment with comfortable contemporary indoor and outdoor seating, high-definition televisions for watching the game, tailgate specials, and live music. Enjoy the camaraderie and celebrate with a toast at View Rooftop in the beautiful Hilton Garden Inn in downtown Iowa City. Here's a phone number for reservations, 319-519-4650. 319-519-4650. Of course, we're on the 12th floor. It's all glass outside. You got a beautiful panoramic view. You can sit out on the patio if you so choose tonight. A little muggy, a little warm in Iowa City today, but there aren't many days like this left. So come on down, join us. We have a great crowd here tonight, and we have room for you. If you can't make it, we'd sure like to hear from you. Coach Ferentz will be here shortly after 7 o'clock. And if you have a question or a comment for Coach, there are a number of ways you can reach us. On Twitter, at Gary Dolphin. On Facebook, at facebook.com/Voice of the Hawks. We have a U.S. Cellular text line. You can call in and leave your message via text. 319, or text in, I should say, 319-853-8344. 319-853-8344. Or you can email us. Now, there's 4 options, gang. So let us know what you're thinking. What about Iowa football? At 2-1 headed to Minneapolis. Email us your question at hawktalk@HawkeyeRadioNetwork.com. That's hawktalk at HawkeyeRadioNetwork.com. First half hour, we usually like to spotlight other Iowa sports, other late summer fall sports. We're going to do that when we come back. Jim Barnes is rebuilding that Hawkeye volleyball program. They came off a couple big victories last weekend and a tough, close loss up at UW Milwaukee. When we come back on Hawk Talk, Jim Barnes will join us, and we'll talk a little volleyball, Iowa volleyball. Of course, Iowa, the state of Iowa, is such a great state for high school volleyball. Jim Barnes joins us next. We're brought to you by Iowa Corn. Throughout the Iowa Corn Cyhawk series, Iowa Corn promotes honest, hard-working values that are uniquely Iowan. On behalf of Iowa's corn farmers, we want to salute all athletes for their hard work and determination to be the best both on and off the field. Just like our top athletes, our state leads the nation in corn and ethanol production. Go to iowacorn.org, iowacorn.org, and learn how corn grows Iowa. Hawk Talk with Kirk Ferentz continues in a minute from the View Rooftop and Learfield.
Hey Hawkeyes, this is Kirk Ferentz. Support Iowa's corn farmers by pumping up with Unleaded 88. Fuel your drive to the game with a clear choice at the pump. Unleaded 88 is cheaper, greener, and homegrown. You might think Iowa just grows corn, but the truth is corn grows Iowa. Let's go Hawks.
At U.S. Cellular, we believe in having healthy relationships with our phones, so we can have better relationships with each other. Introducing Us Mode, a way to set your phone for less distraction and deeper connection. So dinner can sound less like this and more like this.
What'd you learn today? The sauropod was the tallest dinosaur ever. Oh my goodness.
Visit U.S. Cellular in-store or online, and we'll help set your phone to Us Mode, even if you're not a customer. U.S. Cellular, the 5G network built for us. See uscellular.com for details.
At Mid-American Energy, our 1.6 million customers depend on our energy 24/7. That's why we work 24/7 to deliver the safe, reliable energy you need. To keep our 99.9% reliability record, we're enhancing our technology, improving resiliency, and investing in critical infrastructure. We're generating power from all available resources to cover any increases in demand. And we're innovating to ensure you always have the energy you need. Mid-American Energy, obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
At U.S. Bank, when they say they're in it with you, they mean it. Not just for the good stuff, the grand openings and celebrations, although those are pretty great, but for all the hard work it took to get there, the fine-tuning of goals, the managing of cash and workflows, and decision-making. They're in to help you through all of it, because together they're proving day in and day out that there is nothing as powerful as the power of us. Visit usbank.com to get started today. Equal housing lender, member FDIC, copyright 2024, U.S. Bank.
Hey Hawkeyes, this is Kirk Ferentz. My players know that success on the field and off the field requires a strong work ethic and constant improvement. That's true no matter what field you're on. There are less than 5% of Iowans making a living off the land. The Hawkeyes are proud to celebrate Iowa's hardworking farm families. Agriculture touches lives in so many ways. we feel it's important to recognize the men and women responsible for producing our nation's food, fuel, and fiber. Farmers are the backbone of the state of Iowa and the whole country. That's why our players are proud to wear the ANF logo on their helmets. It serves as a reminder to all of us, America needs farmers. Join the Hawkeyes and the Iowa Farm Bureau as we celebrate America's farmers during ANF Game Day on October 12th. You could win the ultimate ANF fan package, 4 reserve seats, sideline access, and an autographed football. To register, visit americaneedsfarmers.org.
Join Michelle Altmeyer on the Hawkeye Tailgate Show at the official watch party headquarters of the Iowa Hawkeyes, Big Grove Brewery. For each away game, check out the Hawkeye Tailgate pregame show live at Big Grove in Iowa City. Big Grove is your official Hawkeye game watch destination with game day parties in Des Moines, Cedar Rapids, Solon, and Iowa City.
Welcome back to Hawk Talk. Hi, everybody. Good evening. Welcome to Kirk Ferentz Show, courtesy of our friends here at View Rooftop in downtown Iowa City in the Hilton Garden Inn. I'm Gary Dolphin. We're here until 8 o'clock tonight, and we're fielding your questions, your text messages, your emails, your Facebook posts for the coach. We've got quite a few already mailed in, but we'll try and get to as many as we can once Coach Ferentz arrives here in about 20 minutes or so. In the meantime, I want to talk a little Hawkeye volleyball. Jim Barnes is with us tonight, outstanding coach. He's built great programs wherever he's been. Down in the Southwest, came to Iowa from Tulane. Is this year 3? Help me out. It is. Okay. My mind's not totally gone then. But the Hawks are 5-4. You've got 11 newcomers and 7 returners, Coach, this year. Since you've arrived, the roster has been, a lot of moving parts and trying to find the right mixture. Boy, you got a lot of great players out on the floor, but finding that chemistry, volleyball, unlike a lot of other sports, can be difficult.
It is when you're rebuilding a program. Last year we brought in some transfers, but they were graduates, so they had 1 year. And literally just trying to make a roster last year. And then this year we've brought in a lot of freshmen and some transfers with multiple years so that we can build that continuity. But right now, when you look at our starting lineup, we have at times 5 freshmen on the floor and 2 transfers. So that means not one player on the floor is a returner. They're all new. So we're learning how to be disciplined with very little experience.
KCRG 9.2 is with us each and every week. We've got some volleyball footage up showing right now for you folks around eastern and central Iowa that are watching on 9.2 or the Iowa Hawkeye YouTube channel. Jim, one of those newcomers from Central Michigan, a transfer, Claire Amaral, outstanding talent, 6'2" junior out of Madison, Wisconsin, La Follette High School. She went down with a bad ankle sprain this past weekend. What's her progress? What's it look like, prognosis?
Well, yeah, she's one of the most talented setters in the country, and so she really changes the game for us. And, we were starting to really make some headway and get some consistency going, and in the very first match of this last weekend's tournament, she turns her ankle pretty badly. So it's not fractured, so she'll be able to return, but with that kind of ankle injury, you just don't know if it's 3, 4, or 8 weeks. It's just but she's recovering well. It's just we now move another freshman into the starting lineup who battled and played well, helped us win a match. And we this week got us 2 days to get our game centered around her, basically changing our offense to what she can do. And so I think she's going to be even better this weekend in this weekend's tournament. But it's a tough one to lose, Claire.
I see a half a dozen freshmen and a few more redshirt freshmen on the roster. That's tough in this league, isn't it? Big Ten, top to bottom, certainly the best in the country.
Yeah, we'll be the most youngest and experienced team in the league, and with this many new players. But we had to do it. We needed to bring in an infusion of talent, and we're deep, and we have some really serious competitive women that want to win at this level. But trying to get them all on the same page, without returning experience has been a big challenge. But the work ethic and the heart's all there.
Young lady from Burlington, Gabby Deary, has been having a good start to this season for you, I noticed, in her numbers.
Yeah, you just love coaching Gabby. She's Iowa, hardworking, just brings it every day. And whether she's starting or just coming off the bench, she's going to bring her best. And she's getting better and better. She surprises us since the day she stepped on campus. Has surprised us how good she's gotten.
Who else has surprised you? Pleasantly, speaking, of course. But, start with your most talented individuals, at least position-wise, and break it down from there. Who are you excited about?
A number of our players, again, Claire was a big catalyst for us, like really different than any other setter in the country. She was going to be the most offensive setter in the country. She is right now. Gets more kills as a setter than any other. She's a left-hander, hits the ball really hard. And so she's a special player that we're looking forward to having back. But Hannah Winenstall's our middle. She's a transfer from SMU and really dynamic player who's playing well. Dominique Fields is a freshman that we did not expect to move in the starting lineup. She won the job before the first match. She's hitting extremely well. A very athletic 6'2" freshman on the left side. And
Texas young lady.
She is.
We know they're tough from Texas.
Yeah, she's really getting after it and played in a lot of our games through there. Malu Garcia is our player from Hawaii. She's another lefty and fearless. She's leading us in kills right now as a freshman. Dealing with two different setters, and she's just, a special talent.
We've, as you know, in Iowa, it's great high school volleyball. Mm-hmm. Year in, year out. You've got a couple of young women from Iowa. We've already talked about Gabby Deary. Kenya Prescott is a junior from Kemper Catholic out of Carroll. She came in from Des Moines Area Community College.
Yeah, another a junior and with some experience and is a libero for us locally. Olivia as well is from Nebraska. She's getting a lot of playing time right now. She's a redshirt freshman and she's really stepped up for us. Jamie Marquette's another freshman. She's from Illinois, but she's right
Chicago.
Yep, down the road, and she's in the game and helping us. So. Looking forward to having these players for multiple years building the program.
Yeah, looking forward to some maturity there.
Yes.
It's a tough league. I mean, anybody who follows volleyball on a national level knows how good the Big Ten is. National championships sit at Nebraska, Wisconsin, Penn State. Purdue is top 10 ranked.
Yeah.
This year I was watching some of their match the other night with, I believe it was Baylor. But with this expanded Big Ten now, it only gets tougher.
It does. With the 18 that we have, 10 of them are expected to make the NCAA tournament.
Amazing.
A Big Ten team has either won the national championship or been in the Final Four. I believe it's 19 of the last 22 years. So it's just the most dominant league of really any sport. The Big Ten in volleyball is the most dominant you'll see.
Coach Jim Barnes, Hawkeye volleyball coach, with us for another minute. Well, you'll get there, and let's hope it starts tomorrow night with the Quick Star Classic over at Extreme Arena in Coralville. Man, you've got the facilities,
yeah.
So recruits coming in have to be impressed with the Extreme Arena, and you've got quite a tournament coming up this weekend. You play at 6 o'clock tomorrow night, 6 o'clock on Friday night. And 2 o'clock on Saturday afternoon. Tell us about the competition.
Yeah, tomorrow's against South Dakota, who's really on fire right now. They just beat Iowa State. They've won 6 matches, and so they're a very hot team. So we'll have to play our best to beat them tomorrow. And you're right, the arena's amazing. And all the Iowa girls, their dream is to play in the state championship there. And then their next dreams would be a Hawkeye and play in there. So
for sure.
We love our facilities and the people in the Hawkeye, facility people are just incredible what kind of production they put on for our games. But South Dakota's really good. We're next against St. Louis. It's also got a winning season going on. And then Drake, who won 30 games last year. We play them on Saturday, and so a lot of people usually come to see that one as well.
Little intrastate competition before they start their tailgating for Hawkeye football on Saturday night, huh?
Right.
You set that up good. Coach, all the best to you going forward. You were 2-0 in Puerto Rico to open the season with wins over Liberty and Providence. Injuries have bitten you, but, that's part of a long season, isn't it? And, time to rebound and win.
Yeah, for sure.
Great to see you, Jim. Thanks for stopping.
Thank you, Gary.
Coach Jim Barnes, how about a hand for Coach Barnes, Hawkeye volleyball, gracious enough to come down and appear on the Kirk Ferentz show tonight here at View Rooftop. We're going to come back and talk football, Iowa, Minnesota from here on out. That's next from View Rooftop on the Hawkeye Radio Network, courtesy of Learfield.
Tournament Club of Iowa, designed by golf legend Arnold Palmer. TCI is his only signature course in the state. TCI is a public course offering a challenging yet enticing experience for golfers of all levels and is managed by Kaler Golf. Cap off your round with breathtaking views and a delicious meal at the TCI Bar and Grill. Looking for a unique setting for your wedding party or outing? Look no further than the newly renovated clubhouse at TCI. Visit tcofiowa.com to book your tee time today.
Hawk fans, be sure to visit and connect with these local business partners of the Iowa Hawkeyes, located in the Des Moines area. Card Law, Community Choice Credit Union, and Royal Flooring. At Community Choice, it's simply a mortgage. No hoops to jump through or limbo sticks to go under. Just a straight, easy path from point A to point B. It takes less than 60 seconds to get started at unpackyourmortgage.com. Loan approval subject to credit score and analysis. See credit union for details. Equal opportunity lender.
Hey Hawk fans, this message is for anyone looking for that first job, or maybe a job that's actually fun. The Wig & Pen in Ankeny is hiring.
The Wig & Pen is locally owned and offers flexible hours
with competitive pay and a fun environment.
Stop by anytime, Wednesday through Sunday to apply.
The Wig & Pen in Ankeny, serving tantalizing sandwiches, soup, salads, and famous signature pizzas from the Flying Tomato to Chicago Deep Dish, and quenching your thirst with a full bar and a wide selection of beer on tap while you watch the game. The Wig & Pen Pizza Pub. Eat, drink, work, and play.
Hey Hawkeye fans, Jenks Dunker with Iowa Football here. Your support in the stands is critical to our success on game day, but now you have another way to make a real impact. Join the Swarm today and partner with my teammates and me to service charities throughout Iowa. Together we're making our state stronger and helping Iowa athletics become the place where we experience the thrill of winning championships. Head to iowaswarm.com for more information. Let's make a difference, Hawkeye Nation.
In the heartland, where ambition thrives, there are those who are made and those who are made for more. Just like the Hawkeyes on game day, Kloss, a leading producer of ag equipment, unleashes the power of ambition in the field. Discover why our cutting-edge machinery and unwavering support aren't just a promise, they're a commitment to your success. Because at Kloss, we know you are made for more. Visit your Kloss dealer or CLAAS.com.
Cedar Ridge Distillery continues to be the home of Iowa's favorite bourbon with the original 86 bourbon whiskey. Not only is it always made with Iowa corn, but we let Iowa put its own stamp on the whiskey by aging it in non-climate controlled rickhouses. Make your next drink with Iowa's favorite, the original 86 bourbon by Cedar Ridge. Learn more at cedarridgedistillery.com. Cedar Ridge Distillery, Swisher, Iowa. Please drink responsibly.
Hawk Talk from View Rooftop in downtown Iowa City at the Hilton Garden Inn. Welcome back to Kirk Ferentz Show, everybody. I'm Gary Dolphin. We're sponsored by Hulganics. Do you have Hulganics Midwest in your farming game plan? Well, Hulganics Bio 800 Plus products are enriched with soil microbes to build soil health and increase your yield. Soil nourishing, root stimulating, that's Hulganics Midwest. Go to Hulganics, that's Holganix, Hulganicsmidwest.com for more information. Let's pause 10 seconds before we move on with Hawk Talk and Coach Ferentz. 10-second ID break here on the Hawkeye Radio Network. You're listening to Hawk Talk from View Rooftop. Both the Hawkeyes and the Minnesota Golden Gophers are 2-1, and they will be colliding at 6:30 at Huntington Bank Stadium coming up on Saturday night. Again, our pregame coverage starts at 4:30 here on the Hawkeye Radio Network. All right, let's go back to Cade McNamara. He was talking earlier. We had asked him about his relationship with Coach Tim Lester, the new offensive coordinator. Granted, it's only 3 games in.
I mean, I love playing for Coach Lester, and I think, you know, just the more experiences that we have together, the closer our relationship's going to get. But I think overall, just what I really enjoy is just like kind of the in-game conversations that we have. And so far, I think, you know, I feel comfortable sharing my side of things, and he definitely feels comfortable sharing with me some things. And I think, you know, just the more we communicate, the better.
And Cade, his mental state was one thing. He said he felt most comfortable after last week's game with Coach Lester's game plan, at least from a mental perspective, that he's comfortable, he's settling in, and in general, his health is very good.
I mean, this is the best I've felt in a really long time as far as my body, and really not even having to worry about my body. And I think that's just an overall sense of relief. I mean, when I'm able to, be confident that, I can move around or I can take shots, and I think, that's just one more thing on my plate that I don't have to worry about.
We'll all be holding our breath, though, Saturday night when he takes those first few snaps. Remember, he got hurt last year when Big Ten play started against Michigan State. And Minnesota coming up Saturday, the Big Ten opener on the road. But McNamara says every game in this league is tough.
We know that they're a really good squad, so we're going to do everything we can to play our best this weekend. Since we're playing for a trophy, and we got to win a trophy back, and this is our first road game this year, so that adds a little more to it. So we're definitely looking forward to it, but we need a good week of preparation before.
And the week of preparation continues over at the Hanson Performance Center and the practice facilities. Cade McNamara, the grad transfer, or the graduate student from Reno, Nevada, has thrown 83 passes, completed 53 for 526 yards. That's a 64% completion ratio, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. And remember, one of those 2 was the Hail Mary at the end of the Iowa State game, which to me really doesn't count. He's trying to heave it as best he can, and it was underthrown and picked off by Iowa State. But Cade's off to a good start. The Hawks, the offensive line continues to remain healthy. They're protecting him. Obviously, the running game has been a featured byproduct of Iowa's offense. We can't tip the cap enough to tackles Jennings Dunker and Mason Richmond, Bo Stevens and Connor Colby at the guards, and, of course, the all-Big Tenner Logan Jones. We had Logan on as our best in the game, courtesy of Old Dominion, on Saturday after that Troy game. Logan was running every which direction and flattening opposing defensive players. But Tyler Ellsbury can jump in there. Nick DeYoung has performed admirably. Jack Dotzler, Cade Pieper got a few snaps on Saturday. So let's hope that offensive line stays not only healthy but very, very deep. Thanks to KCRG 9.2 tonight for not only tonight but every week, bringing us highlights that you're watching around East Central and Eastern Iowa from our program here at View Rooftop. We'll have more highlights coming up shortly. Coach Ferentz will be here. Again, you've got a multitude, multiple options in reaching us here with a question for Kirk. You can reach us on Twitter at Gary Dolphin, Facebook.com/Voice of the Hawkeyes. The U.S. Cellular text line is 319-853-8344, 319-853-8344. And you can even email us this year at hawktalk@HawkeyeRadioNetwork.com, hawktalk@HawkeyeRadioNetwork.com. Minnesota, I don't think I mentioned this at the top of the show. Minnesota's most improved defensively. They've posted back-to-back shutouts the last 2 weeks against Rhode Island and the University of Nevada. Saturday was a 48-0 wipeout, or 27-0 washout of Nevada. The 48-0 beatdown of Rhode Island was the week before. So the Gophers have been playing well in all 3 phases, both offensively, defensively, and special teams. And Kirk was mentioning yesterday at his weekly press conference, and we'll talk about that when he arrives, that they're very veteran at kicker and punter. The guys have been around, not unlike Torrey Taylor and Drew Stevens a year ago, but their kicker is Dragon Kesic. He's got a 65-yard kickoff average. He's a fifth-year young man from Oak Creek, Wisconsin, 6'5", 235 pounds. So he's very Torrey Taylor-like in terms of physicality and size. He's 5 for 9 in field goals, 5 of 9. Now, that doesn't sound like a great percentage of conversion, but he's tried to kick a few between 40 and 50 yards, but he's been very accurate up to 40 yards, 3 out of 4 there. So he'll be a factor. on Saturday night if called upon. Their punter is Mark Crawford. Guess where he's from? Australia. What a shock, huh? He's from Perth. He's not from Melbourne, but he's averaging just under 45 yards a kick. So he, too, like Torrey Taylor, has a booming leg. He's got a long of 58, and he's down a couple inside the 20 in this young season. So their kicking game is very, very good, but so is Iowa's. I thought Reese Dakin, other than the line drive that he outkicked his coverage with on Saturday that led to a touchdown. A lot of that was punt coverage. Some of that was the punt itself. But he for the day, he was a busy man, averaging right around 45 yards a punt. So Reese Dakin, the freshman, 19-year-old freshman, continues to get better and better with each passing game. Watch us on the official Iowa Hawkeyes YouTube page or on KCRG 9.2. Aaron is here with the crew tonight from Channel 9.2, and we thank them for their support each and every week. Kirk Ferentz is arriving, so why don't we take a break and tell you that you're listening to Hawk Talk with the head coach of the Hawkeyes, and we're sponsored by Hawkeye Village. Entertain your clients or employees at each home game in Hawkeye Village. Presented by Navigate Wellbeing Solutions. Village packages include game tickets and catered food. You can visit HawkeyeSports.com for more details. Navigate Wellbeing Solutions is a proud partner of Hawkeye football, and Iowa's next home game is coming up bye week next week. But after that, the Washington Huskies will be coming in down the road. We've got the Northwestern Wildcats, the Wisconsin Badgers, the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Hawkeye Village would be a good place to start your day on a Hawkeye game day Saturday at Kinnick Stadium. Back with the head coach of the Hawkeyes, Kirk Ferentz, right after we pause. We're at View Rooftop, downtown Iowa City in the Hilton Garden Inn from Learfield.
How do you become America's best-selling brand? Let's break it down. Innovative tech means smarter and safer driving. Intelligent all-wheel drive will keep you ready for anything. And built Ford tough trucks will always get the job done. Plus, come into your local Ford store today and get super low APR financing, big cash back, and great lease offers on Ford's full line of cars, trucks, and SUVs. That's Ford, and that's how you become America's best-selling brand. Sales claim based on calendar year sales.
When you live in the Midwest, you're accustomed to leading the nation in certain things, from corn and pork production to eggs and soybeans. And now we're adding another product to that list, clean, renewable wind energy. By investing in wind turbines and partnering with area farmers and landowners, Mid-American Energy is harvesting wind power that's homegrown right in our very own backyard, which not only provides customers with low, stable energy rates, but also the support to make our Midwest communities safer and stronger.
When it comes to your health, you need the full picture. That means the right diagnosis and the right treatment right from the start. I'm Aaron Bose, pediatric neurologist with University of Iowa Healthcare. Here, we're working together every day to advance medicine so you can get the best care. With more research, more clinical trials, and more treatment options than anywhere else in the state, the University of Iowa Healthcare is changing medicine and changing lives. Learn more at uihc.org.
Hi, I'm Gary Dolphin, and if you want your home to be exceptionally comfortable during these cold Iowa winters and hot, humid summers, you need to turn to Dave Lennox and your local Lennox home comfort specialist. Lennox has been serving Iowa consumers since 1895, when Dave Lennox built his first furnace in Marshalltown, and Lennox is still building its high-efficiency furnaces and air conditioners there today. For the best home comfort system you can buy, it's Lennox and your local Lennox dealer. Lennox and the Hawkeyes. Now there's a winning combination.
At U.S. Cellular, we believe in having healthy relationships with our phones, so we can have better relationships with each other. Introducing Us Mode, a way to set your phone for less distraction and deeper connection. So dinner can sound less like this and more like this.
What'd you learn today? The sauropod was the tallest dinosaur ever. Oh my goodness.
Visit U.S. Cellular in-store or online, and we'll help set your phone to Us Mode, even if you're not a customer. U.S. Cellular, the 5G network built for us. See uscellular.com for details.
At U.S. Bank, when they say they're in it with you, they mean it. Not just for the good stuff, the grand openings and celebrations, although those are pretty great, but for all the hard work it took to get there, the fine-tuning of goals, the managing of cash and workflows, and decision-making. They're in to help you through all of it, because together they're proving day in and day out that there is nothing as powerful as the power of us. Visit usbank.com to get started today. Equal housing lender, member FDIC, copyright 2024, U.S. Bank.
We're at View Rooftop in downtown Iowa City in the Hilton Garden Inn with Iowa football coach Kirk Ferentz. Special week it always is when it's Iowa, Minnesota in the battle for Floyd. Kirk, it's not every year we start Big Ten play with Minnesota. It's a little bit of an oddity.
Yeah, I can't keep track, and came up yesterday in the press conference. I guess we have a very lofty percentage of starting out on the road, which, that's interesting too. But, it's been a long time since we played Minnesota this early. At least somebody cited it in the office, but it had been a while.
To your point about, and I was mentioning this at the top of the show, of your 26 years, you've started on the road 18 times.
There you go.
But you've won. The Hawks have won 6 of their last 7 road games to start the season, so that's encouraging. You know what? The Hawks have been a good road team for a lot of years, and it starts with the defense.
It does, and if defense travels well, any sport, and if you're going to win, have a good team, good season, you have to be able to win on the road, and you got to be able to win close games. So those two things really haven't changed forever, and I think in some ways it's a unique challenge, and it's really an opportunity if the team has the right mental outlook. And there's something kind of cool about going into a place where you're really not welcomed or wanted, and if you can go in there and just kind of block everything out and focus on the game, the execution, all the things that make a game go well, that's the challenge. So it just naturally almost heightens everybody's I think ability to concentrate a little bit, and it's either sink or swim. So that's a choice that you have, and if you want to control crowd noise, play well. It's an easy answer, but sometimes easier said than done.
The Hawks have run the football up there real well in recent memory. I remember Marcus Coker the year, I think Iowa lost that game. It wasn't the opener, but it was a cold November day, and Marcus galloped for like 240 yards. And let's hope we see that out of Caleb Johnson on Saturday night.
I'm thinking about 1989. I think it was my last game as an assistant, actually, and Nick Bell, I think, had 105 yards at halftime, and we found a way to lose that one, and that went really south. So, it's interesting, stats, but as a rule, you'd rather run the ball well. Chances of winning are a lot better that way. These guys are tough to run against. They've done a really nice job up there defensively, and they've been pretty good defensively now for quite some time, very consistently good that way. And going back to the scheduling, to the early years, the craziest one was us playing up there in December in a night game, the COVID year. How'd that happen, right? So, I don't know who put that one together.
Outdoors,
exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Wasn't in the dome.
No, wasn't in the dome.
No.
So,
that is unique.
We've had some interesting trips.
Yes, it's unique equals weird in that type of situation. But it's, whether it's up there or down here, it's an easy drive. The Twin Cities, it's a great in vogue city, lots of great restaurants. And the Hawkeye Huddle, by the way, I should mention the Hawkeye Huddle will be on Saturday afternoon because of the night game from 3:30 until 5:30. Kickoff at 6:30, of course, and you're within half a mile a walk to the stadium from the Graduate Hotel where the Hawkeye Huddle will be held. The Graduate Hotel, it's right on Washington Avenue, but it's always needless to say, I know it's a competitive physical football game, but these two fan bases, as much as they like to say they hate each other, and a lot of people do in a good way, it's always a festive mood, whether it's in Minneapolis or here.
Yeah, I think that's one of the great things about playing in this conference. It's not all games anymore, but at least a lot of the games, the majority of your games are traditional teams that,
yes,
you've played for a long time. There are a lot of stories over the years that go with this one, and certainly this one goes way back. So a lot of interesting battles, contests, etc. And I think that's one of the great things about our conference, and not to mention the venues that you get to play in. I missed, I can't remember, was it Williams Field or whatever Williams Arena, but their old field, I remember Carl Jackson talking about never being colder in his life. It was a concrete structure,
it was
on campus.
That was Memorial Stadium
there you go.
in Minneapolis. Yeah, that was right on, and they were on campus then.
That was not Carl's favorite place to go. I know that. I heard that story a couple times. Then you went into the Dome, and that was interesting for sure, and now they've got a stadium on campus. But all that said, whether it's the venues, you can change a little bit, but the long-standing rivalries are always interesting, and it's just great. And now our conference is going through a little bit of transition, if you will. So we've got another couple new adventures as well on top of it.
Yeah, 18 teams now in the Big Ten. But Minnesota and Iowa will continue. Minnesota is one of those protected rivalries like Wisconsin and like Nebraska, and that's the way it should be.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's a good thing. I don't know how they make those determinations other than it makes sense. I know some of the other schools are mad because they only got one protected, and I don't know if they only turned one in. I don't know what the deal is. But even with us having 3 of them that are protected, you could have gone 4 or 5 or 6 probably. And had it make sense. But it's a good start.
Coach, let's go to Facebook and or Twitter. Let's see. We start out tonight with Tony and Clinton. I see the well, we'll take this one. It's right out of the gate. I see the University of Tennessee is adding a 10% talent fee to all of its ticket prices to help support student athletes starting next year. What are your thoughts, Gary and Kirk? Well, Kirk, everybody's scrambling for ways to raise money.
I think my without giving it much thought, I just saw it yesterday briefly, and my guess is they're the first ones of many to jump in the water. I imagine there's going to be a cascade of other schools doing the same thing, and it's I think we just got done talking about Big Ten expansion. That was done for one reason, obviously, and revenue. It's a revenue-driven sport. There's a lot of revenue available, and now this is one more way of trying to maybe find a way to get it back to the players, the athletes, the guys that are out there competing, and that's all sports, not just our sport. But we're about to go through a real period of change, and I think Tennessee's trying to get on the front end of that. I'm not sure how it's being received by their fan base or whatever, but the reality is that's where we're heading right now. And I think the curious thing, the interesting thing is going to be to find out what the details are and how the logistics are going to work, all those types of things. But my guess is, they're just the first one to jump in the water, and they're going to be more to come.
I did talk to some of our officials in the Iowa Athletic Department today, and the comment was nothing to share on the Tennessee news. Like all institutions, we're exploring all opportunities to both contain costs and generate revenue as we head into this next iteration of college athletics. And we don't know everything that's on the horizon out there yet.
Yeah, I think that process has been going on for quite some time. Certainly got accelerated with the lawsuit that the NCAA is involved in. As I understand, that thing still, that could go either way too. So it hasn't been fully resolved. And what I've been telling people, I feel pretty good about, where we're at between now and January in terms of the structure of our program and all those things. And then after that, who knows? And I think until we get something, some firm direction, I think we all have some ideas of where it may go, but nothing firm. So it's really, you want to be thinking about it, and there are people that are spending a lot of time thinking about it, and well, they should. But as far as it affecting our program right now, we're thinking about trying to get ready for Saturday's game and do all we can to win Saturday, and then you're on to the next one. So it's about as simple as that. But we're just I think everybody that follows sports knows we're just in a real period of transition right now, and I'm not sure what it's going to look like 6 months from now, 16 months from now, and right down the road. But certainly it's going to look a little bit different.
Well, off that subject, Rob in Fairfield is checking in with us tonight on the text line, wondering if Caitlyn Clark has had any kind of influence or impact on the football team or coaching staff while she played at Iowa or so far on the WNBA. And Rob knows that the WNBA playoffs start later this week or this weekend. But, well, Caitlyn's had an impact on everybody some way.
Yeah, I think anybody that follows sports can't help but admire. And I'm not a basketball expert by any stretch, but the way she plays is so phenomenal. And again, I'm not an expert on how you play and all that jazz, but I do know two things. If I was a teammate of hers, you better be paying attention because that ball may come to you at any time. If there's even a crack and you've got an open shot, she's going to get you the ball, which I think is so impressive. And then obviously, stating the obvious, I've never seen anybody shoot the ball like that. Like Steph Curry, certainly. But
yeah.
The one thing I'm pretty sure of, never asked either of them, but that doesn't happen by accident. You can only imagine how many hours they spent. And it's true of any of the great players that played basketball, past or present, to be that good, that proficient. That really says something about work ethic and just dedication and the pride that they have. So you can't help but admire. But we got closer exposure to her than maybe some other people, and just her team first attitude, just the way she competed, and then her proficiency of everything she did, whether it was, handling the ball, shooting, passing. Pretty impressive.
Indeed. And she has put that league on her shoulder blades, not just her, but Indiana's come back from not making the playoffs since I believe it was 2016. I read earlier in the week to now they're in, and it has a lot to do with Caitlyn Clark. So we wish Caitlyn the best. Stay healthy, Caitlyn, down there in Indy. We got to take a break here, Coach, but before we do, just a quick comment about we haven't talked about Troy. And it was a solid win, especially a nice second-half performance by all three phases. Jamari Harris' pick 6 was huge, but everybody kind of settled in after that halftime with you trailing 14-10.
Yeah, it was not the most impressive first half of football that I've seen, certainly, but proud of the way the guys kind of refocused and regrouped, and a lot of good things that went on out there. Jamari's play was beautiful, and I think I mentioned Saturday, and I'll mention again, is just our ability to finish plays like that. The defensive staff does a great job. Our players know what to do how to react when a ball is picked off or a fumble's picked up. And as you can see, a lot of guys doing a great job getting out in front and escorting them in there. Nick Jackson had 2 big blocks on that, not just one. So, again, you talk about unselfish players. Guys are really working for each other. That's what they do. And, the obvious story there was the big plays that we gave up, 3 basically uncontested touchdowns. That's definitely an issue. One was a mental error, one communication error, and the other one was just, hard to explain. I'm confident we'll get better there, but we still got to do it. And then, offensively, some really good execution, some good things there. And you think about some things we could do better. We got stopped on a 4th and 1, and unfortunately, it was 9 guys going one way and 2 other guys going the other way. And so a communication error again. It wasn't anything other than that. And we got a field goal conversion where we missed a makeable 3rd down conversion. So there's still plenty to work on, but, some highlights of Caleb running the ball. I've never seen him play better, and it's in his 3rd year. That's usually when college guys, in general terms, really start getting their traction. He's really focused, seeing things, and I thought his tough runs at the end of the game were the most impressive ones, out there. So that was good to see, and Jazz Patterson played very well too. So really good to see him, starting to hit stride.
What about Kamari Moulton? I know you were excited about him all fall. He's gotten dinged up in the first couple of weeks. Is he available?
He's ready. He practiced this morning.
Okay.
Looks really good, and he's got a great attitude. Just saw him leaving the building, and he's just a high energy, really delightful young man, and he's got a really good future in the program.
Caleb Johnson averaging 8 yards a carry, and I was harping on a couple radio station interviews this week that what's to me as amazing as anything else is as many carries as he gets, very little negative yardage plays. I mean, he's always going forward. Those legs are churning all the time. He had 25 carries last week for 178 yards and just 5 yards of negative yardage.
That's a good thing, because negative yardage plays are really tough on an offense. And, I think that's what we're seeing here the last couple of weeks. He's starting to play strong. He's always been strong, but hasn't maybe utilized the power and strength that he does have. And, it sounds kind of stupid, but, you learn how to play. I mean, I really believe that. You learn how to play football. Some guys just, have that ability, I guess, or maybe it comes sooner. But I really think, if a player's good, they keep learning as they go in their careers how to get better and really utilize what they have, and they know what their strengths are and what their shortcomings are and play to their strengths. And I think that's what we're witnessing with Caleb, to your point. He's starting to really use the strength that he has. He's a pretty strong guy 2 years ago, but didn't always play that way. And part of that's maturity, just getting comfortable and just really understanding, there's certain things you can do to help your performance.
A lot of those young Hawkeyes, Caleb, of course, is a 3-year guy, but they're climbing that learning curve and picking up more, getting better and better with each passing week as the Hawks head to Minnesota on Saturday night. We'll talk more about the Gophers. You're welcome to join us on Twitter, on Facebook, on the U.S. Cellular text line, or on our Hawkeye Radio Network email address. Join us now. Let us know what you're thinking about Iowa football. We'll come back with Coach Ferentz. We're at the View Rooftop each and every Wednesday night during the season. Now the Hawks have a bye week next week, so we will not be here on Wednesday night. We will be here the following week as the Hawks get back to Big Ten action. But a bye week next week after the Minnesota game, and then we'll be back here at View Rooftop in a couple weeks. Hey, don't fight hungry, Iowa. With Wendy's new Hawkeye Biggie Bundle, You can score a JBC, a 4-piece nugget, junior fry, small soft drink, and a small Frosty at the Iowa Nice price of just $7. $7 at Wendy's. Grab Herky's favorite at a participating Wendy's for a limited time, and go Hawks. We'll go away for just a minute and then come back with more Hawk Talk with Coach Ferentz from Learfield.
Join Michelle Altmeyer on the Hawkeye Tailgate Show at the official watch party headquarters of the Iowa Hawkeyes, Big Grove Brewery. For each away game, check out the Hawkeye Tailgate pregame show live at Big Grove in Iowa City. Big Grove is your official Hawkeye game watch destination with game day parties in Des Moines, Cedar Rapids, Solon, and Iowa City.
At Mid-American Energy, our 1.6 million customers depend on our energy 24/7. That's why we work 24/7 to deliver the safe, reliable energy you need. To keep our 99.9% reliability record, we're enhancing our technology, improving resiliency, and investing in critical infrastructure. We're generating power from all available resources to cover any increases in demand. And we're innovating to ensure you always have the energy you need. Mid-American Energy, obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
At U.S. Cellular, we believe in having healthy relationships with our phones, so we can have better relationships with each other. Introducing Us Mode, a way to set your phone for less distraction and deeper connection. So dinner can sound less like this and more like this.
What'd you learn today? The sauropod was the tallest dinosaur ever. Oh my goodness.
Visit U.S. Cellular in-store or online, and we'll help set your phone to Us Mode, even if you're not a customer. U.S. Cellular, the 5G network built for us. See uscellular.com for details.
At U.S. Bank, when they say they're in it with you, they mean it. Not just for the good stuff, the grand openings and celebrations, although those are pretty great, but for all the hard work it took to get there, the fine-tuning of goals, the managing of cash and workflows, and decision-making. They're in to help you through all of it, because together they're proving day in and day out that there is nothing as powerful as the power of us. Visit usbank.com to get started today. Equal housing lender, member FDIC, copyright 2024, U.S. Bank.
When it comes to your health, you need the full picture. That means the right diagnosis and the right treatment right from the start. I'm Aaron Bose, pediatric neurologist with University of Iowa Healthcare. Here, we're working together every day to advance medicine so you can get the best care. With more research, more clinical trials, and more treatment options than anywhere else in the state, the University of Iowa Healthcare is changing medicine and changing lives. Learn more at uihc.org.
Hey Hawkeyes, this is Coach Ferentz. We're excited to partner with Iowa Corn for another football season. And Iowa Corn is pumped up for the season with the Hawkeyes. For those of you that drive to the game, support Iowa's corn farmers by selecting unleaded 88 at the pump. It's a fuel choice that's cheaper, homegrown, and better for the planet. It's worth the hype. Get pumped up for unleaded 88. Let's go Hawks. Hey Hawkeyes, this is Kirk Ferentz. Support Iowa's corn farmers by pumping up with Unleaded 88. Fuel your drive to the game with a clear choice at the pump. Unleaded 88 is cheaper, greener, and homegrown. You might think Iowa just grows corn, but the truth is, corn grows Iowa. Let's go Hawks.
Oh my, Floyd's been munching on some Minnesota corn for the last year. It's enough of that. Tight end Luke Lachey, one of the best in the country. He's got some thoughts on old Floyd.
Yeah, obviously it's a big game. It's a rivalry game, something that we all kind of get a dream about growing up, playing in big games like this. It'll be fun to go out there and have the opportunity to go play for Floyd of Rosedale and try to bring her back. I think it's just cool that it started out as like a real live animal, in the 30s, and now it's obviously this big 80-pound trophy, and it's just really cool. It's very meaningful to the sport, and I got an email yesterday from a fan saying that it's buried in between Iowa and Minnesota on the border or something. So the old pig. So it's pretty cool. I don't know. It's just going to be fun to go out there and be able to play for it.
The innocence of youth, Luke Lachey. It's buried somewhere up there near the Minnesota border. Floyd was born in Fort Dodge. Actually, he's buried up around Fort Dodge, where that gigantic memorial is to Floyd of Rosedale. And I thought that hog was over 100 pounds when you put it on the base. The trophy, we're looking at it now, but Floyd looks a little thin after spending a year up in Minneapolis. Hopefully the Hawks can throw him on drop him on the equipment truck and bring him back home. I mean, trophy games are special. You know that.
They really are. I didn't know much about them until 1981 when I came here, and learned very quickly. Ironically, it was a loss to Minnesota, 12-10. Imagine that. In 1981, I remember them coming across to grab the trophy, and I had no idea what was going on. I was trying to figure out what these guys were
coming
doing.
over to shake hands, right?
Yeah, but they were a little aggressive. So right then and there, just kind of my appreciation for what a trophy game is and what this one is grew extensively. And I remember distinctly, I don't know why, but I remember going up there in the next year in '82 in the Dome. Might have been first year we played in the Dome. I think it probably was. And, God, it was one of the more hard-fought, physical, just a really tough game. And we ended up coming out of there with a victory. And I think that was the same day Coach Fry popped out with the bib overalls and the hat, all that stuff afterwards.
The straw hat, yeah.
Just for their media to give them a little, hello. And so, yeah, some stuff you just remember. But it's been hard fought typically each and every year. And I'm sure this won't be no different. The only last two times we've been up there, it's been a little chilly. So it might be a little wet, I guess somebody said, but we'll trade that in for freezing weather.
For sure. Chance of
sub-freezing weather.
Bring your, as Ron Gonder used to say, your galoshes with you on Saturday. But perhaps a raincoat or a garbage bag to put over the top. There'll be plenty of that up there in Minneapolis, I'm sure. Coach, the numbers don't bear out historically what Minnesota has done in the running game. Now, I know Darius Taylor was nicked up a little bit earlier and in the offseason, but he's averaging 7.5 yards a carry. He's their go-to guy. He had a big game. He's had a couple big plays in the non-conference season, and he is a load, 6 feet, 215 pounds, Detroit kid. They've got some backups to him that are really good. Marcus Major, the Oklahoma transfer, Jordan Newbin, the redshirt junior. They've got some options, but Max Brosmer, their quarterback, has thrown the ball really well. It's kind of an extension of their running game, really.
It really is, and it's interesting. You go back way back on these guys. They always seem to come up with a couple good running backs, and I remember one year when they played here, I think it was like 16 or 17, and it looked like maybe they were nicked up a little bit, and then they had a guy from Georgia, I believe, a young guy who really ran the ball well. So they've really done a good job finding guys that are very capable, and certainly you talk about Taylor, he's a really talented player. I guess he's had some injury issues a little bit on and off, but boy, he's a very talented and, as you mentioned, very hard runner. And then this guy Major's been very, very impressive too. He's kind of the guy that's carried the load maybe even more than Taylor this year, and he runs strong, very physical, so has done a good job too. And then going to the quarterback, they're throwing the ball a little bit more maybe than what you'd expect or what you're used to, and I think they wanted to upgrade that position. I don't coach here, I'm not an expert on them, but I think it was kind of the intent there. And this guy's a grad transfer from New Hampshire, was an outstanding player at the FCS level, and it's fit really, really well in there. Just jumped in and done a nice job. Very efficient, high percentage on completions, and does a good job protecting the football. So, it's going to look like a typical, Minnesota offense. They've got good group of receivers. Their tight ends a little bit more on the hefty side. In blocking, they really have huge guys up front, and the tight ends are not small. So. They'll dump the ball down on those guys a little bit, but they're basically up there to either stop people or move people.
Their offensive line is always huge. They've had some great players, particularly at center, the last few years. Greg Johnson is a sophomore from right there in Prior Lake. He's solid. Their guards are well over 320 pounds, and their tackles are always gigantic. So PJ's that was intentional when he got there. He knew that in the Big Ten you got to be big, you got to be physical, you got to be able to move. But big is always good in the Big Ten.
When you say their roster, you see them on the field. That's very apparent on both sides. They've got, and that's one thing. They're a little longer and bigger on the defensive side than they've been. But you're exactly right, especially offensively. They've had some, the coordinators have changed and moved around a little bit over the years, but they look pretty much the same in terms of what they're trying to do. It's not like they're, going from a spread to a different form of offense. They're pretty consistent what they do, and they've done it very, very well.
They've had quarterbacks seemingly every year. Cadillac Manis is at Rutgers now.
Yep.
Doing a good job. Now here comes Max Brosmer. He is a seasoned quarterback. He's played 36 career games. He's a grad transfer from New Hampshire. He's a young guy out of Georgia, but he's thrown for close to 3,460 yards, Coach, 29 touchdowns while he was at New Hampshire. He led the FCS in total yardage, 313 yards a game. He's really put up some gaudy numbers at the FCS level, and he's off to a good start here. 69% completion ratio. I'm sure that got your attention.
No question. He's been very, very efficient and doing a good job there. So that really jumps out at you. And then, the other thing you mentioned him switching. It's reflective of college football too. We talked about it in NIL earlier, and quarterbacks moving around, switching seats. It seems like it's almost the norm. It's certainly not the exception, but almost the norm now. A lot of that going on, and it's just part of college football. But it looks like this has been a really good mesh for them, and they seem really pleased with things.
We'll talk Minnesota defense when we come back. We'll go to a break here now on Hawk Talk with Coach Ferentz from View Rooftop in downtown Iowa City. We're at the beautiful Hilton Garden Inn. View Rooftop, a high-energy bar with spectacular views of downtown Iowa City on the 12th floor. View is located on the 12th floor of the Hilton Garden Inn. Features a distinctly modern escape filled with a unique outdoor design. Plenty of glass to see the downtown skyline at night. Beautiful bar, plenty of flat-screen televisions, and, of course, Hawk Talk with the head coach of the Hawkeyes. Open all day on Hawkeye football game days with tailgate specials. View Rooftop provides a memorable experience with food, music, and fantastic views of the Iowa City skyline. Please call this number, 319-519-4650. 319-519-4650, and you too can set up your View Rooftop reservation for the Hawks in Minnesota this coming weekend. Before we go to a break, Coach, let's get this in. John in Williamsburg, this isn't game-related, Coach, but when was the last time you went to a movie in an actual theater?
Oh, boy.
And what did you see?
Yeah, that's a good question. When, I can't tell you. Maybe right after COVID.
Okay.
And it was a movie about child slavery, basically. It was just had come out. It was kind of controversial, I think, but it was really, it was almost depressing. It was very well done, but it focused on, the trafficking of young people.
Kids.
And just, really kind of sobering, and it makes you appreciate being in our office just trying to coach football. You miss out on some things. It's amazing things people are capable of doing that are just really, really sad.
Yeah,
but,
for sure.
So, not to bring everybody down here, but that's the last time I think I've been. I just haven't been to a movie lately, and there have been a lot of things I'd really been interested in. I guess so.
Well, that movie you went to, that's a little different than the last one I saw in a theater. Fargo. I went to Fargo.
Oh, well, in the theater. No, geez. That's been a while.
Yeah, that has been. It's one of my all-time. Francis McDormand, William H. Macy, who was in the seats a couple weeks ago for an Iowa football game. He was in town, but that was the last movie I saw in a theater.
It's a great movie.
Oh, man.
Yeah, great movie.
I've seen it about 20 times, and it is so Minnesota, as they say.
Yeah, it is.
So I guess that's appropriate
for
this evening. Yeah. We'll take a break, come back with Coach Ferentz and more of your questions, your tweets, your Facebook posts in just a minute on Hawk Talk from View Rooftop and Learfield.
When it comes to your health, you need the full picture. That means the right diagnosis and the right treatment right from the start. I'm Aaron Bowes, pediatric neurologist with University of Iowa Healthcare. Here, we're working together every day to advance medicine so you can get the best care. With more research, more clinical trials, and more treatment options than anywhere else in the state, the University of Iowa Healthcare is changing medicine and changing lives. Learn more at uihc.org.
Hey, hungry? And your heart is ticking for chicken? Well, take a quick turn into Quickstar, because we got
no ordinary chicken.
Yeah, go wild with wings. Next level super wings with trusty sidekick and sauces. Or let's talk tender. Quick chick tenders. Love me tenders. Love me some quick tenders. Ours are bigger, better, tastier. Or if you're feeling good old school comfort fried chicken, we got it. Hand breaded, down homier than anywhere. Quickstar, saving your nuggets from ordinary.
Hey Hawkeye fans, Lucy Olson with Iowa Women's Basketball here. Your support in the stands is critical to our success on game day, but now you have another way to make a real impact. Join the Swarm today and partner with my teammates and me to serve charities throughout Iowa. Together, we're making our state stronger and helping Iowa athletics become the place where we experience the thrill of winning championships. Head to iowaswarm.com for more information. Let's make a difference, Hawkeye Nation.
Treat yourself to one of our award-winning entrees at the Machine Shed. Come get your hands around one of our famous pork tenderloins, our most popular sandwich, served either deep-fried golden brown or unbreaded and grilled. Or try our roasted stuffed Iowa chop that is stuffed with a warm apple raisin dressing and glazed with an apple whiskey sauce. Trust me, you won't regret it. This is Jeff Grunder, and we can't wait to have you over for dinner at the Machine Shed.
I-80 and Hickman Road, Urbandale, and I-80 and Northwest Boulevard, Davenport.
The silly moments, the proud moments, even the hard moments. They're what make life remarkable. And they're why Wellmark Blue Cross and Blue Shield is here for every moment. Committed to making healthcare better, more affordable, with more choices for care. And service and coverage that give you peace of mind no matter what comes your way. So you can show up for every tender moment, every brave moment, and every wouldn't miss it for the world moment. Knowing that Blue is here for you. Go to Wellmark.com/every moment to find a plan right for you.
Hello, seafood fans. This is Bruce Gerleman, and I own Splash Seafood Bar and Grill. Have you been to Splash lately? Come back downtown and let me spoil you. White linens, fresh flowers, candlelight, award-winning wine lists, professional staff, and best of all, my fresh fish are jetted in from Hawaii every morning. Enjoy my homemade lobsters, Alaskan king crab, fresh oysters from the cold, clear, clean waters of the Pacific Northwest. My favorite is the surf and turf featuring my hand-cut prime steaks and lobster. Splash, a truly special evening of adult indulgence.
We're at View Rooftop in downtown Iowa City, and Hawk Talk with Iowa coach Kirk Ferentz rolls on. We're here each and every Wednesday from 6:30 until 8. Make it a date to come join us in a couple weeks. Next week is the bye week, the first of two byes, actually, for the Hawkeyes, so we will not be here on Wednesday. Iowa leaves Kinnick Stadium for the first time. The friendly confines will be in the rearview mirror this weekend as they head to Minnesota to take on the Golden Gophers in the Big Ten opener. Jay Higgins, the All-American middle linebacker, talked about playing on the road.
We understand to be a championship-level team, you got to win games on the road. We're playing in the Big Ten, so these environments are going to be packed with a lot of people there. Like that, got to expect that. And we understand when we go in these environments, it's our team versus everybody in the world. Coach Ferentz does a great job of just, coaching that and, making sure that we prepare well. We know the crowd's going to be loud. We know momentum in their home stadium's a real thing. So you just got to prepare for that and just can you execute while your emotions are high? I feel like we do a good job at executing. If we're in Kinnick or if we're on the road, if we're down, if we're up, however it goes, just got to get it done.
That young man has come a long way in interviews, play, and I bring that up because I was reading yesterday where he mentioned that his first heavy game action was at Minnesota, 4 years ago, and he made plays that night, and he's been making plays ever since.
Did a great job, stepping in, and Jay's just that kind of guy. He's meticulous with his preparation. He's always been really mature, and unfortunately or fortunately, he got stuck behind a good player in Jack Campbell, and I think in today's world, it's really rewarding to see a guy who recognized that Jack was a pretty good guy and a pretty good guy to learn from, and all that time he was working hard, doing a great job on special teams, and Jay's been a leader since he showed up, just the way he does things. He's got a certain energy and attention to detail that makes him really stand out, and it's just been fun to watch him just continue to grow and blossom, and what a great year he had last year, and he's off to a good start this season.
Well, we're delighted he decided to come back as well with Nick Jackson and others this year. Speaking of defense, Coach, what impresses you about the Golden Gopher defense? They've got back-to-back shutouts for the first time since 1962. I don't care what era you're talking about. That's pretty impressive.
They're playing really well. They've got good size up front, really good size up front. They're a big physical group. They're four down linemen. The guy in the boundary, number 92, is not as big. He's 255. That's not small, but a very active player and very veteran player. And just, high energy, high effort. Linebackers are extremely aggressive, really run hard to the football. And number 45, their boundary guy, is a guy who played a lot 2 years ago. And then last year had injuries or something. He's in and out. But, man, he's back healthy, and he does fly around. The middle linebacker is a young guy that played a lot last year and is picked right up where he left off. And the guy out to the field is similar to what we do. They play with kind of a hybrid guy, a linebacker / DB. And he's a very active player. They like to get both, it's he and 24 both share some time. 21 occasionally, but those guys are very active, part of their blitz package, if you will. And then in the back end, doing a good job, pretty veteran there on the corners.
Justin Wally's been there a long time.
He came out of the game last week with an injury. We expect to see him. He's been there a long time, to your point, a really good player. And then on the other side, talking about the transfer portal on the offensive side, they went FCS there, got a guy from Bucknell. You don't hear of that often, but he's fit right in there and done a really nice job, too. Number 2's been a good pickup, a good acquisition for him. And, and their safety's been active. They had a really good one last year that's in the NFL now, Newman. But, these guys do a good job.
They've got a number of safeties that are in the NFL the last 5-10
Winfield,
years. They've got some great players indeed. Coach, let's talk about our kid captain for this weekend. 8-year-old Aiden Washburn of Keokuk. Heard you talking about Aiden yesterday. Before Aiden was born, he was diagnosed with hypoplastic left heart syndrome. That's a birth defect in which the left side of the heart is severely underdeveloped. Within 24 hours of Aiden being born, doctors took him to his first open heart surgery. By the time he was a week old, Aiden would have a second surgery, and over the next 3 years, doctors performed 2 additional surgeries on his heart with inpatient stays each time. And he's bouncing around, enjoying everything that an 8-year-old does these days. Congratulations, Aiden Washburn, our University of Iowa Healthcare Stead Family Children's Hospital kid captain this week. Special young guy.
Yeah, you just hear these stories. It's just so amazing. The families, the attitudes, and then the work that is done with these guys. The doctors are just phenomenal. The nurses, and then the support staff, the therapists. It's just it's a team effort by everybody, and a lot of just really remarkable stories.
Another special story connected to Iowa football, the U of I Hospital kid captain. We'll take a break, come back, wind down our show this week on Hawk Talk with Coach Ferentz from Learfield.
Join Michelle Altmeyer on the Hawkeye Tailgate Show at the official watch party headquarters of the Iowa Hawkeyes, Big Grove Brewery. For each away game, check out the Hawkeye Tailgate pregame show live at Big Grove in Iowa City. Big Grove is your official Hawkeye game watch destination with game day parties in Des Moines, Cedar Rapids, Solon, and Iowa City.
Hey Hawkeyes, this is Kirk Ferentz. My players know that success on and off the field requires a strong work ethic with a focus on improvement. Our players share the drive and determination of Iowa farm families, and that's why we're proud to wear the America Needs Farmers logo on our helmets. Please join the Hawkeyes and the Iowa Farm Bureau as we celebrate farmers during A&F Game Day on October 12th. For more information and to win game day tickets, visit americaneedsfarmers.org.
You might think Iowa grows corn, but the truth is, corn grows Iowa. Corn can even fuel your drive to watch the Hawkeyes play when you choose Unleaded 88. It's a fuel that's cheaper, cleaner, and greener. Plus, it's homegrown, making Unleaded 88 the clear choice at the pump and totally worth the hype. So as you head to cheer on the Hawkeyes this season, don't just fuel up. Pump it up with Unleaded 88. Find Unleaded 88 at a station near you. Go to iowacorn.org/88.
When you live in the Midwest, you're accustomed to leading the nation in certain things, from corn and pork production to eggs and soybeans. And now we're adding another product to that list, clean, renewable wind energy. By investing in wind turbines and partnering with area farmers and landowners, Mid-American Energy is harvesting wind power that's homegrown right in our very own backyard, which not only provides customers with low, stable energy rates, but also the support to make our Midwest communities safer and stronger.
At U.S. Cellular, we believe in having healthy relationships with our phones, so we can have better relationships with each other. Introducing Us Mode, a way to set your phone for less distraction and deeper connection. So dinner can sound less like this and more like this.
What'd you learn today? The sauropod was the tallest dinosaur ever. Oh my goodness.
Visit U.S. Cellular in-store or online, and we'll help set your phone to US mode, even if you're not a customer. U.S. Cellular, the 5G network built for us. See uscellular.com for details.
You don't have to go to the game to get a game program. You can download it now by visiting the Game Day page on HawkeyeSports.com. That's right. The game program is now digital and it's free. So check it out. Get the roster, the stats, and fascinating stories about today's matchup. Just go to HawkeyeSports.com and click on Game Day.
Welcome back to Hawk Talk. Coach Ferentz and I talking about a little baseball here. It's almost baseball playoff time. I know you're a big Pittsburgh Pirate fan growing up in the Steel City, but there's so much going on this time of year. Big Ten football, October gets here. We've got the playoffs and the World Series, and it's a great time of the year, like most quarters are.
A lot going on, and we have a bye week coming up, so maybe I'll catch up a little bit on what is going on in the baseball world. I'm a little bit disconnected right now, but I'm sure it's interesting every year.
Understandable. Coach, on our U.S. Cellular text line, it's a new ad to our Hawk Talk with Coach Ferentz this year. Trucker Jim used to call us all the time when we take phone calls. He says, tell Kirk to bring Floyd home. He needs some corn. He's getting a little skinny. I thought he looked a little thin this week at press conferences, but we hope to get him back here and fatten him back up, Jim. Coach, did you like what you saw with playing Sully? That would be Brendan Sullivan in the red zone last week. What are the thoughts on playing more of him in the red zone going forward with his ability to run out of that package?
Yeah, it's just certainly something we'll consider and keep looking at. He's a really good athlete and is learning the offense, obviously, and as is everybody. But he's a little bit behind. He got here in June. But he's done a really nice job. We just thought, it's one more dimension, maybe something for people to have to pencil up and try to diagram, spend some time on during the course of the week. It gives us one more way maybe to present some threats. So, yeah, we'll keep looking at that. And I got a kick out of the press conference yesterday. One of the journalists asked about that, and then, would you think about doing it out in the field and, third down or, whatever. So, never say never to anything. I mean, we're just trying to win the ball, win the game first and foremost and move the ball and score points. So anything that would help us in that regard, we'll keep it up on the board.
Yeah, you're not going to tip your hand, that's for sure.
Probably not.
That was
probably not.
A very unselfish play on Sully's part because he had the lane. Ostrenga was going to block for him, and he had a lane for the touchdown, but he flipped it to his buddy, pitched it forward. I thought that was very, very unselfish of him.
So I had the same thought that I reconsidered and said, well, maybe he's just trying to pad his passing stats. He's 1 for 1 with a touchdown. I may as well retire right now.
I never thought of that one.
Go out on top.
I thought that's a good point. James checks in. I'm sure this isn't James Ferentz. What stood out to you most about last week's game, and what are the keys to bringing that kind of success last week to this week?
Well, we weren't in the best position at halftime, so I do like the way the guys refocused. And, it's everything you do is important out there. So first half we had too many mental errors and just let some things get away from us that were disappointing. But the guys, I think, responded. I think we were better focused in the second half. And an apropos time because now we're moving into conference play. You just don't have time for lapses every – I don't want to make it life and death, but every play, every series is important. I don't want to say critical. That's a strong word, but it is important, and you don't want to miss out because of mental errors or communication errors. Those two things. If somebody beat you straight up, they beat you, but you don't want to lose out on due to miscommunication or just not thinking quite the way you're supposed to be thinking.
We got just a couple minutes left. I don't want to lose sight of the fact that Lucy, happy belated birthday to you. Lucy's birthday last week. Lucy's a regular here on Hawk Talk with Coach Ferentz every Wednesday night. She also attends every Fran McCaffrey show in the wintertime. Nice. So happy birthday, Lucy. Great to have you here as well tonight. Coach, we're going to wrap it up on this note. Mike says, hi, Dolph. Hi, Coach. I wanted to ask the coach if he remembers the 1986 Iowa-Minnesota game when Minnesota had too many men on the field and Rob Houtland kicked a second-chance field goal to win the game. I've never seen Coach Fry so happy. I remember that game vividly.
I do too, and I never seen the other head coach so unhappy. John Gutekunst, who was a great guy and a really good,
Wasn't it a penalty flag?
Really good coach. Yeah,
I
remember he took his watch off and just smashed it on the turf, and I mean for obvious reasons. So we got another chance to kick it, and Vinny, the representative from the Holiday Bowl, was there. He was in the tank when we missed it, and then he was happy as could be, and he shared that with us in the locker room. Just a great guy. But, it was anytime you beat these guys, it's a good thing. And it was that was a great win. A lot of fun.
Rob Houtland rarely missed 2 in a row, let alone one.
I think the odds were with us on that.
Yeah, Coach Gutekunst, great guy. In fact, his son, I think, is still the GM or one up in Green Bay.
He's done a great job in Green Bay.
Great football family. Coach, good luck Saturday. We'll see you up there in the dark.
Appreciate it.
At Huntington Bank Field.
Sounds good.
Yeah. By the way, don't forget the Hawkeye Huddle on Saturday afternoon, 3:30 to 5:30 at the Graduate Hotel. And that's just within a mile of the stadium, right near the campus there in Minneapolis on Washington Avenue, Graduate Hotel. Thanks for joining us. We won't be here next week because of the bye week. Come back with us 2 weeks from tonight on Hawk Talk with Coach Ferentz. Good night, everybody.
On the Hawkeye Sports Network from Learfield, live from View Rooftop at the Hilton Garden Inn in downtown Iowa City. Hawk Talk has been brought to you by Mid-American Energy. Call 811 before you dig. It's the law. Visit MidAmericanEnergy.com for natural gas safety tips. Iowa corn. You might think Iowa just grows corn, but the truth is corn grows Iowa. Brought to you by Iowa's corn farmers of the Iowa Corn Growers Association and the Iowa Corn Promotion Board. By your local Ford dealers. U.S. Cellular, the official wireless partner of the Iowa Hawkeyes. U.S. Cellular, built for us. Also brought to you by University of Iowa Healthcare, changing medicine, changing lives. The preceding has been a Learfield presentation on the Hawkeye Sports Network.